Bodybuilder from Thailand here with Awaken Aesthetic. Today, we wanted to talk to you guys about music and about its meditation qualities. Personally, I use music and a form of meditation involving it to generate all content ideas for bodybuilderinthailand.com. All my ideas that have ever come into creating the website, any articles, any videos on the YouTube channel have all come from me doing this technique, which is something I do daily to generate content ideas. We both are big time heavy metal fans and we both play guitar. When I was like 10 years old or 11 years old, like right when I had my first like little bit of puberty, you know, like my balls released their first milligram of testosterone, like I got this feeling from hearing electric guitar that no other sounds have ever matched this feeling. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like it's this crunchy distortion electric guitar with the driving eighth notes, like dun 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 dun. That gong 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 gong.
It just like scratches an itch that you didn't know that you had.
Yeah.
In your brain.
And it powers you. Like it gives this driving energy that just makes you be able to go on, like precision and a force. It reminds me, electric distorted heavy metal guitar reminds me, the reason why I like nuclear missiles, why I'm interested in that is the same reason why I'm interested in electric guitar. Because it's like high explosion, high energy, high like mass, like critical mass, and then precision. Because electric guitar takes extreme skill of tiny little minute details, and you get this precision that sounds unstoppable, or it actually kind of sounds like a nuclear explosion, like that song Eruption by Van Halen. It sounds like a nuclear explosion, and it gives this like really masculine like power. We were talking earlier when I was a kid and I was 11. Yeah, me and my friends, we would I'll go to my friend's house and we'd sit in his room, and he had a stereo, and it was very loud, and we'd lock the door so his parents couldn't come in, and then we would turn up the music to the maximum on the stereo, and we would be listening to System of a Down or Linkin Park, the original stuff, like Toxicity, System of a Down, or Linkin Park Hybrid Theory, or we'd be listening to Sugar Ray before they went into like a pop rock thing, back when they were really heavy metal. We listened to some other metal bands too, like Children of Bodom. We would listen to them too. And we would be in there like rocking out, like I'm not talking like we'd be in there going like this, listening to music. It'd be me and my friend in there, man, and we'd be on our feet, like going nuts, just going nuts. And those times, I remember, like, it was just a different time. It was a time where I felt like powerful feelings that I had never felt before. Like it was a new thing.
Yeah, dude, I love that feeling. Yeah, I still get that sometimes when I listen to like really heavy metal in the gym, and I'm like, when I work out really intense and do like some crazy like drop sets or supersets, and you get that crazy pump and the music is just blasting, and I'll just look at myself in the mirror sometimes and just like rock out. It just drives me into that like frenzy where I'm just like, it's like the same energy as like getting a really crazy pump, and just like when you have that pump already and you just keep pumping it and it just like itches so bad, it's that same like feeling. It
like builds on itself too as you're doing that, and as you keep on working out harder, it's like it gets more intense and gives you more backing.
Yeah.
Where you normally would run out of energy, but you don't.
Yeah, like I'm training a lot and playing guitar. I've reached this like meditative state where it's almost like a frenzy kind of like in your body. Like you feel so like you have so much energy for that like hour, and you just attack the weights, or you just like shred like crazy. And after that, you're like completely spent. It's like going to war. It's like that, like, when you're like in battle.
Yeah. There's a meditation associated with not with playing guitar, with listening to heavy metal music, guys. So I started listening to heavy metal music, and when I was young like that, but then I eventually got to a stage where I was using it when I was like 17, and I was, you're going through those times when you're like 17 where you hate the world or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I was listening to those heavy guitars to block out my negative emotions or my negative feelings, and they would do that well. You know, as long as I could have that metal music on, I could not think about my problems, basically, because it was so intense and so attacking, the music, and so loud in my ears that it just blocked everything out. Did you ever experience anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. Like when I was in high school, when I first went to my first high school, I had to travel an hour and a half every day on a bus and then another bus to go to a different borough, and it was like crazy. And I had to wake up at like 5 in the morning, and I would go to sleep at like 12 at night. So I was like extremely depressed because I was sleep deprived and I was like a kid. I was still growing. So I like listening to like Megadeth and Opeth and Nevermore. This is like the only thing.
Progressive rock, yeah. And you said Dream Theater was your favorite band.
Dream Theater is my favorite band, and these were like the only things that like got me through those long trips at 5 in the morning, like looking out the window and like crossing the whole bridge and everything, and just being like, fuck, like I hate my life, like I literally hate my life right now. But that music just made me feel so much better.
You know, looking back at those times, like now that we're older and stuff, it's funny like how dramatic that's being, right? Like I look at some of my old past experiences and things that were really upsetting me, and it's like, wow, that was really dramatic. I didn't need to be so upset over some of those events happening in my life.
Yeah, but you can see, like, if you look at it in context, you can always see, like, you know, where you were at the time. And, like, yeah, I mean, when you're a teenager, you're definitely blowing things way out of proportion. You get a little bit older, you realize that, like, I feel like you just don't have the energy anymore for, like, I had so much energy back then. Like, I couldn't sit in that fucking bus, you know what I mean? Like, I was dying in that bus.
That's pretty funny.
Like, I needed to be outside, like, doing something or, like, you know, being more active, but I was just, like, holed up in that freaking bus at 5 a.m. Like, the only thing I could do was rock in my head, just dream of, like, a time when I would be free of that, you know?
That sounds like fun. So, guys, the way that I use heavy metal music now is I don't listen to heavy metal music on a like really regular basis. I don't listen to it throughout the day. Normally, my favorite kind of music, actually, so what became my favorite kind of music after I stopped being dramatic with heavy metal was 80s music. So you still get the shred guitars and the super high precision explosion sounds, but you're mixing that with elements of pop and like happy popping, rocking. It's much lighter. It's still got the heavy guitars and the heavy drums, but the rest of the song is uplifting.
Yeah, I feel that. I think if you listen to like really heavy music, like Children of Bodom or Nevermore or something like that, now for me, I can get pretty anxious after like 20 minutes or something like that if I'm not working out. When I'm working out, I try to do the heaviest shit possible.
Yeah.
But when I'm just like chilling and living my day-to-day life, I can't. Like, I just don't have enough aggression as I did when I was like a teenager to like constantly be blasting myself with the heaviest shit I could find.
Well, for both of us, it's an evolution of we found a tool when we were younger that is powerful. Heavy metal is a powerful tool that we can use in our lives. But then as we got older, we discovered, hey, this should be used as a tool. This shouldn't be something that my entire life revolves around.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now that's the same way that I use it now is I do listen to the 80s metal. That's like, because music affects my mood in an extreme way. Basically, so positive thoughts and music are the two things, positive or negative thoughts and music are the two things that have the greatest effect on my mood throughout the day. And if I want to control my mood, I can use music literally to control my mood.
Yeah. I was in a marketing class and the group did a study on that. We had to do our own study. It was like for my like capstone class, and they did their study on how music affects people's moods when they're shopping. They found that like different music played in the store would make people like buy more or buy less, and like the uplifting music. The most important thing they found is that the music has to match like the vibe of the store.
Okay.
So for you that's like heavy metal. That music is like the one that you like, and then after that it was like the type that it was. If it was the right type, it would make people more likely to buy. So it like triggers that thing in your brain that makes you excited.
Yeah, got it, yeah. Because that is the feeling I get when I go to a bar and I hear EDM music or I hear pop music, like the stuff that's on the radio, I feel like shit. And I just want to like go away from that place.
Yeah.
I don't feel like talking to any women. I just want to go away. But as soon as I get to a bar or a nightclub that has rock and roll playing at it, Guns N' Roses, AC/DC, Van Halen, stuff like this, then I'm on my game, man. Like every girl is attracted to me then, right? And like, and I've got all this energy. I feel freaking amazing. I'm having like the time of my life. And that's simply because of the music being played.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about like the music on Khaosan Road and like the...
Well, there's a lot of live bands playing rock music there.
Yeah, like in Thailand, in Bangkok, there's just like bars and bars. There's probably like 20 bars throughout like the city per night playing heavy metal. And you can't really find that in America anymore. Like maybe like you'll find like one or two that have like on the radio.
Yeah, they play Metallica and stuff like that.
But I'm talking like really good cover bands that like are crisp and they play the music really loud, and there's plenty of people there, girls, guys, everybody, Thai people and foreigners, all like rocking out and having an awesome time at these clubs, these like rock clubs and bars. And like that's something I really loved about living there, and like being able to go out any night and like just go rock with some people. And they'll have it at night markets and stuff. Like it's awesome.
Yeah, American culture, it's just not cool enough to be like that anymore, guys. The people here have degenerated to a point where they can't appreciate real instruments anymore. They need little beep, 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 boop, boop, bop, 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 beep, beep, beep noises, okay? That's what they like to listen to. Makes them horny. The thing with the meditation, with the metal music, is now what I want to talk about, which is, so guys, to generate content for bodybuilder in Thailand.com and to just actually even just dictate what I do with my life, I use mostly hard rock or metal music to do that. And what I do is I sit down and I put the music up to a very loud volume, the same way that I did when I was a young teenager, so that it's kind of hurting my ears. Like I feel a pressure coming against my ears. It works much better if I'm not using headphones. If I'm using like an ambient room with the sound surrounding me. And if it's loud enough to kind of hurt my ears a little bit, then it starts, and the guitars are heavy enough, really crunchy. Gong, 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 gong. That noise, that gong, gong, palm muting crunching. I get this, it blocks out all other thoughts in my mind. Normally when I'm just sitting here, there'll be lots of different thoughts coming into my mind, right? And it will be hard to concentrate on one thing. There's lots, unless I'm having a conversation, then I can probably concentrate on one thing. But just as I go about my day in general, there's so many different thoughts competing for my attention. But when I listen to the heavy metal in that environment where I'm just sitting there and I just enjoy it, and I'm not doing anything else. I'm just sitting there, and the heavy metal becomes the only thing that I can think about. So all of the input from my other senses gets rolled back. So like my touch senses gets rolled back. Like maybe it was on a pickup level of 6, and it gets rolled back to 1. Same thing with my sight, or with my nose, with my taste. I'm not noticing input coming into my brain from those senses anymore. I'm only noticing the input coming into my ears, and it gives me this extreme focus where the only thing that like exists to me is this heavy metal guitars and drums in my ears. And when I have this laser focus like this, I've noticed that if I do break the meditation or break the focus and let other things start coming into my mind, that it's ruined, and I have to like get back into the state.
You like fall off.
So what happens once I'm in this state, and the only thing that exists to me is the heavy metal. It's a form of meditation that I started doing as a young puberty guy. Okay, and it stayed with me all this time, and gotten better at doing it now. And a lot of times I will actually be on my feet. A lot of times I'll be going like this and be like, because that's part of getting into it. And that helps you to not recognize the other things that are going on around you, and it helps your senses to not pick up anything but the metal. If you start rocking out and you start moving your body and you're like like this kind of stuff, like it gets you into that mode where the only thing you can think about, the only thing that your brain is registering is that input coming from your ears. And once that happens, ideas start flying into my head, like literally flying from nowhere. They come from outer space. This is meditation. This is what happens to people who meditate, is these ideas, they come from basically outer space. Not actually outer space, but they come from the ether around us, right? Because they're things I haven't thought of before. And being in this meditative state makes ideas that were not in my brain, and I've never thought about them before, come flying in. It's like all the subconscious stuff that is normally going on in my brain all of a sudden gets thrust into my consciousness. And so what I do is I have a notepad, and I do this every day for at least an hour. It's one of the first things I do when I wake up, is I do this heavy metal meditation, and I have my notepad, and that's the only thing other than like headbanging and like dancing and like, oh, like this kind of shit. The only thing that I'm doing is I've got this notepad nearby. And so then when those little things fly through my brain real quick, they'll be gone if I don't capture them on paper within 30 to 60 seconds. I'll never remember them again. So I have that pen and that paper, and I write it down, and I get it down there, and that's how I generate content for everything that I do with my online business. And yes, that's how I do it. I carry that notebook around with me. What do you think?
I think we're good.
All right. All right, that's the story on heavy metal. So that's what we're doing, guys.